what happens as we are doing this practice. If you're doing it with any kind of depth, then you will experience that some of the stuff that is stuck in your chakras will start to melt, and it will move down to the base of the spine. And there it gets heated up with your attention, and it starts to rise in the spine. This is why we call this practice rising energy practice. So it's more than just meditating in the sense of relaxing. You know, you can sit, you can be mindful of your experience, but here we're trying to even go a little bit deeper than that. We're trying to go into the chakras and consciously get these crystallized things inside of us melt, and we all have things that come from our upbringing and our background, maybe from centuries before us, you know, the culture, and who knows, from past lives, if we look at the Asian way. We don't know where all these things come from, but it is true that it is our responsibility to clean it up if we really want to be free. My teacher Rudy, he said once somebody asked him a very convoluted question, very difficult question about, you know, well, why is it like this and what is happening and so on and so forth. And Rudy, he was quiet for a little bit, and then he said, look, what happens is that they spin the wheel. In other words, the universal forces spin the wheel of fortune, and it stops somewhere, and you pop out, and it's a big mess, and then you have to clean it up. Meaning, you know, we come into this world, babies, relatively pure, they still come into this world with a certain amount of preconditioning and tendencies, right? So, and it doesn't take long, being in this culture or that culture, to develop various patterns and identities that become very difficult to transcend, and they create problems. It's not that we need to feel guilty about anything. It's not our fault, but it just is the way it is. So not to think of it as our fault, but to accept it as our responsibility to do something about. If you don't do something about it, nobody will. And this means to cultivate this inner wish, you know, to feel in yourself the wish to transform yourself. And that includes the willingness to have some things die. Some of these old patterns have to die. They have to dissolve in order for new things to get created. And we just had Easter, you know, that's really a wonderful symbol of that. Death and rebirth. And we can have that experience on a regular basis ourselves. But in order to have that experience, we have to be willing to let go of some things. In some cases, things that are very precious to us, or we think they are necessary. You know, when you feel something really catching you and upsetting you, whether it's in interaction with someone else or some wave of feeling that comes up in you from who knows where, try to consciously step back from it a little bit, you know, pull back and look at it. What is that? Where does that come from? I mean, I do this still, you know, something catches me and I say, well, and it may take a while. It may take a day, it may take 2 days. Sometimes it happens faster. Usually it does. You get better at it as time goes by. And then, you know, you look at it as fuel for growth. Once you have that attitude that anything that happens is something that can be used to grow, to go more deeply into this state of dynamic stillness, if you want to call it that, or silence, energy, peace. You know, there is peace in there, but it's a centeredness. It's not a dead peace that means, you know, avoiding everything. This is a tantric practice. We embrace everything, and in embracing it, we let go of it. So again, you know, to the question about money and all that, think of it as something that you can embrace. But you know from your life, most of you, you're old enough, you've had enough life experience to know that anything that you embrace and cling to will become your enemy or create difficulties. So we have to embrace but let go at the same time. Sounds like a contradiction, but it really isn't. We have to allow whatever it is to breathe. You know, like a business has to breathe, a partnership has to breathe. It has to be. And the minute we start clinging too much to it, it starts to work against us. It also says in these texts that are behind this tradition that we are working with, it says that if you free yourself, you actually also free the generation before you and after you. Because if you are free, then your father is also, even if he's passed away, somehow it has an impact. And certainly your children will feel the change in you, and they will be at least invited to be free of that. So it makes it really, that's a powerful motivation to do this. You're not only doing it for yourself, you're doing it for people
around you.
Mm-hmm.